Hello viewers and welcome back to Wargame Red Dragon. I'm your host PPGchu once again. Today we're checking out another 4v4 destruction game. It's actually one of the newer maps. It's called the Chosen Reservoir, and this map is quite interesting because it features quite a lot of hilly hills and a nice little valley with water in the middle. But anyhow, the main reason that we're playing this round is to really work off of the Red Dragon's attack video, which is really just meant to sort of explore playing the Red 4 and some viable concepts for them, because I feel like they were a little weak. So starting off, I mean, with just a sort of a direct tip for you guys, if you actually place helicopter troops on top of any sort of forest, they'll spawn in the air, saving you guys a little bit of time on the uptake, on just sort of sending them forwards, which is really nice. Going from the really just going from the Red Dragon Deck, it looks like he's going to drop some napalm here. Unfortunately, there's not really much I can do about that. Yeah, that is going to delay our troops, unfortunately. But really just continuing off of that deck, my main purpose for this one is to really just to see how well we can sort of make this deck with a focus on NATO troops, with a focus on the Chinese troops rather than the North Korean ones, and really just see whether or not this deck can work without them. So just sort of beginning right away inside the game, what I've done here is that I've deployed some of these Lijian troops. We've seen these guys once again. They are the elite special forces armed with the napalm rocket launchers, and as you can probably tell there, I mean, I'm able to deploy my troops instantaneously through a little trick, which is rather nice. And what I really want to do with them is that I just want to force them up here with their with their napalm armed rocket launchers. They should be able to front up against infantry to an extent pretty well. Although they're probably not going to be able to take out this many Legion troopers, though with some support from my ally here, they should be able to do a good job. Our troops are going to be a little bit delayed, seeing as how they have to fight their way through all of the crap back there, all of the napalm. But as you can see, I mean, these guys are a fairly effective unit to just sort of front forwards. Unfortunately, the NATO player does have an advantage in the early game, which is just sort of an inevitability right now. But as you can see, again, fairly effective troops. The main purpose of this deck is really just building off of this sort of infantry gameplay. The Red Dragons, they have very, very strong infantry. With the Chinese faction, you do have access to those really, really long arching tank shashus once again. So very, very effective with those long HE armed recoilless rifles that can hit both tanks and infantry. And we're really just working off of this deck, seeing how well it can do without the North Korean element. And the reason I say this is that with the North Koreans present, I mean, you do have access to snipers and some other troops that are very effective, that are very useful, but you do have some problems with the availability of troops at that point, simply because, I mean, you want to have a lot of troops on the field, and you want to have your best troops on the field too. Just playing as the Red Dragons, I mean, I felt like there were a few problems with sustainability, with really just keeping troops on the field, and with this deck, I hope that these problems are a little bit alleviated, so that is what we're trying to do here. I see that they have a fairly juicy Leopard A2 over there. That's worth 145 points. We need 8,000 to win. And I have one of these ZDF troops. Again, these things are very, very long-ranged little ATGM buggers, although we are in cannon range, unfortunately, so I'm going to get this guy to actually pull back a little bit. And what we really want to do is that we just want to snipe off that tank with this thing. It has a frontal armor of 19. This thing has a front penetration of 24, so it should be able to do 5 damage per every single shot, and it should be able to hit the kill that thing at least 3 shots, is what I'm hopefully, if my numbers are correct here. So what we want to do is that we want to gain line on sight on that thing and unleash a rocket on it. The nice thing about this map is that the combat is it's very nice just how it flows. I mean, you have this middle area, you have a little bit of hills over here. This part is more urban, but on this side of the map is the area that I really like to play in. It's just a whole mixture of valleys and little town settlements here and there, making it very interesting for some Sicily-like perhaps game elements. So very, very, very cool. Looks like that leopard tank has been destroyed, so that is good. Oh no, apparently people are leaving, which is bad. And it looks like I've actually gained control of all of their troops over here. And it looks like he had another one of these Asian Nick decks, so very interesting to see. Very interesting to see how this would play out. And he's going for a similar setup. A lot of those Li Jian troops, a lot of those tank shashus. Fairly interesting to see in practice, and let's really see what we can do with these guys. So in the back here, I have some more of these BM-24s. Very cheap, economical little rocket launchers. So again, nice little power play unit. I think they're fairly effective in doing their tasks. So now that we've gained control of these guys, I assume that we gain some more troops just to sort of balance it out. We have control of the middle section of this map too. I'm going to get my guys to move forward a little bit. One thing that you can do is that you can do if you press the button Q and then issue a movement order, it'll be an attack movement order. It's rather helpful just simply due to the fact that those attack movement orders will stop your tank shashus, and they will fire off a recoilless rocket round as they sort of go along. And because these weapons require them to be stationary, it's rather helpful in just removing the amount of micromanagement needed. So BM-24 is ready. It should be set up here, and this thing will just effectively pummel the town is really what I wanted to do. I want my infrared team to get line of sight on that recon unit and just take that thing out. Oh, that's actually a car, that's why. I thought it was an air vehicle for some reason. Anyhow, in that case, I'm going to do a little shift in position here. I'm going to get my tank shashus inside the front. And yeah, it's a really great little artillery unit. It stuns everything, it panics everything, and because it has an HE power of 10 again, I mean, it is devastating in just killing everything there, pretty much. So these tank shashus maybe, yeah, they will actually be able to hit the scout unit. So we're going to issue them the order. It might take a little bit of time before they actually adjust and fire their cannon off, but as soon as that thing hits, it'll do a fair amount of damage. The thing about the tank shashus is that they appear to have a really slow firing cannon. As you saw there, the animation or the little rocket effect may not meet the actual effect in game, which is kind of weird, but I'm not really sure if that's sort of just how the game engine works, or if that's a bug or anything. It's really just, you know, it's present is what I can say about it. So over here, I mean, I'm going to try to get my guys to move up, press forward. Looks like we found some Legionnaire troops over here. And our Legionnaire troops will use their napalm rocket launchers to great effect. Shelling comes in. That's going to stun our troops and theirs, unfortunately. But what I want to do here is that in these infantry combat situations, I just want to sort of get in here with these high explosive armed infantry. And all I really want to do is just pick off a squad here and there and then bail out. So like that. We got about 3 squads there, and I think we traded them for one of ours. I mean, to me, that's decent enough, so I think we'll just pull out. And I'm going to get our troops back here into safety inside, preferably the rear, along with these tank shashus, and I'll just move some more Legion troops up is really what we're going to do over there. And I'll bring some infantry truck things to heal them up and get them back into the game, really. Oh. And we need some more resupply over here. So it's a very interesting deck. I mean, it has a lot of this infantry skirmishing potential that we're seeing a lot of potential inside the Red Dragon beta, at least. It's very effective in just sort of skirmishing off with your opponent and just sort of nabbing points like that. Really playing a slow but steady game, I suppose, is one way to think about it. Now, typically, I mean, I like to control just one little blurb area. Now, this is an interesting situation over here. It looks like we actually don't need my CV over here, so I think I'll send it forward. But this is actually going to open up our entire flanks, which is not a good thing. I was under the impression Roy was going to go inside this area, but I think I'll get a single unit just to watch there. Looks like what they're moving up. They're moving up some AMX tanks. Those are the, I want to say, French tanks. Alright, so, again, I want to try to skirmish off here, sending those Legion forwards. Really just using these buildings to great effect. So we're gonna pop in here, let's see those Legionnaires again. Fire off those napalm rocket launchers. That's gonna take them out. And we can also see their tanks from here too, which is nice. And again, we just want to pop them back and forth is really what goes on over there. Yeah. They don't know why this guy is driving up his troops that far forward. That's a little bit risky. Now, one problem that this deck does have is that it doesn't necessarily have too many AA infantry units, which is a problem simply because they are fairly useful in locating the enemy and really just dealing damage from there. So with that sort of said, I mean, they do lack a little bit of power in that respect. What can we do here? Let's see. What I want to do is that I want to try to push back the French forces coming from here, but that is a bit of a stretch, unfortunately, right now. What I can do is that I can just fully saturate this area, but I don't know if that'll do too much, so I think I'll get my live run scout infantry to be brought up here to check out that area. And as soon as these cargo trucks come in, I'll get them to heal all of the tank chassis, the Legion troops over here again, and we can make another minor push like that. My supply trucks are coming over here. That'll bring my HQ 61s back into working order, meaning that they will be able to be used once again for our striking purposes. And I'm gonna get my tank troops to just sort of crawl forwards here. Looks like they have some scouts inside that town or something keeping eyes on us, which is fine. That is appropriate. Buy some more scouts, bring those guys up. And here we go again. Just gonna try to make another skirmishing little push here, really just using those napalm rocket launchers to great effect. I think I'll actually combine these two Legion troops into one thing. And I mean, the idea behind it here is really that you just keep the Legions behind the... where did we leave that QI1? The idea behind this is that we just sort of leave those tank chassis people with the recoilless rifle behind the bulk of the more heavier, more durable infantry, because they only have a 5-man squad. And all we really want to do is just sort of shimmy forward, get these guys to sort of come from the back, and get the other sort of infantry to come from the front. So it looks like we found some Legion troops. That's alright. Get my guys to shift into the building block over here, because their napalm rocket launchers have a fairly close range. But once they get close by, they'll be able to just wreak havoc. Damn, that is a lot of fire, unfortunately. Yeah, it's not exactly helping that they have those tanks around too. So, let's see, what can we do here? What can we do? I want to pick off that recon jeep because I'm under the impression that that is what is giving them definite view on our troops. So I'll try to get our tank chassis people to make a little jab here. Hopefully they'll be able to stomach the firepower of those Legion troops for a little bit. They're not particularly weak in terms of like those little 2-man squads, but they are fairly semi-weak. They're making a push over here. We'll get our guys to reset up. I think I'll get some infantry to occupy this area too. And I'm under the impression that he's going to make an infantry charge over here. Or maybe he's just going to get... I see, he's having some problems on this bridge. Alright. With the recon infantry, with these tank chassis, I mean, if he deploys his infantry on that side of the bridge, these guys should just be able to pick them off one by one. So there is that element to it too. Again, very, very effective units. Now, about this village area inside Ivan, I think we're just going to have to shell it down with artillery, because moving into it doesn't seem to be very, very fruitful right now, which is rather unfortunate. So I think we'll send some troops in and I'll reinforce this area, and we'll just really see how this goes. Oh, looks like he's starting to lose a few of these jeep things, which is good. We can actually help out inside this area a little bit. I'll get my tank chassis to... Oh! Ah, perfect. Enemy is just in range. So these guys will lay down a barrage of just shots. Yeah, some of the bridges inside the game are currently bugged. Some people know about it, some people don't seem to know about it. These bridges, I don't think you can cross them using the fast move speed, although you can cross them normally, which is kind of an odd thing, but hey, you know what, that's sort of what happens. And I believe my artillery pieces have fired here, so I'm just going to get them to run back and not risk them. And there we go, now we've capped Fedor as well, so that'll be nice. Speaking of which, we can bring some of these AA elements up as well, which will be fairly useful. See that this bridge also needs to be covered, so I'll display some of my infantry to cover there as well. Now, over here, I do want to deal with those tanks. So what I think I'll actually do is that I will buy one of these units, the ZLF-92, and I suppose would sort of demonstrate that unit. It's a very powerful little kitey vehicle that we have at our disposal, but it's a little expensive is my problem with it. So we'll see how well those troops work and whether or not we can really just use them to muscle forward and take down enemies through its really long and really accurate ATGM system. Now over here, I'm actually going to shell the back of Ivan and see whether or not I can sort of pick off a command vehicle just off of using the shelling pretty much. Actually, hold that. I see something. I see some troops moving off the bridge. I see some trucks over here. Those trucks would also be worth a pretty penny, so we'll try to destroy them. Again, really expensive French tanks being used. I'm rather surprised to see those guys being pressed forward. Now with these logistics vehicles, if you hit one of them, typically all of them inside the little group blows up. Unfortunately, when the chain reaction starts, you only get points for one of them, like that. Oh, looks like we managed to pick off some infantry here as well. Anything else? No? Okay, fair enough. One thing about those troops, if you're able to just sort of pick them off like that, the nice thing about those logistics troops is that typically decks will only have about 8 to, I would say, 12, maybe 16 of those vehicles, meaning that they're fairly rare, and they play a vital role inside the deck. Most people just sort of are on the assumption that you typically don't expect those to be taken out, and with that said, if you're able to pick off those enemy logistics vehicles, obviously he's gonna have to buy more. Granted that you won't get points for them, though it will if he runs out of them, it severely decreases his ability to commit to any sort of action, really. Just simply because his troops would have to run back to base. Another thing about them is I should get rid of all of these APCs he left me with over here. Another thing about them is that, I mean, they like, once you dwindle the enemy's supply of those logistics vehicles down to maybe just, you know, 1 or 2, it gets to a point where it's just unsustainable. He need to shuffle that unit back and forth so many times to be able to sort of man up any sort of efficient use of them, really. Oh, I see some commando paras over here. Get my tank shashus to come over here and shell the crap out of them from on top of the hill. Again, moving on mountains seems to be some absurd thing with infantry. They seem to be able to do it so easily, like mountain goats or something. What do they have over here? They have some, what are these actually? These appear to be, oh, they're mortars. Or no, they're anti-air things. It's kind of weird. Alright. Let's see. Let's see what we can do with our artillery as well. I'm gonna bank we can pick off a few of these guys with a massed artillery barrage, so I think we will try to do it. Or not. The thing with the BM-24s is that because of their long reload time, you do have to, you know, just say to yourself whether or not this target is worth hitting, because as soon as you use up those rounds, you're down. Those artillery pieces are down. They're vulnerable for a good 10 or so. A good, no, not 10 minutes, but a fair long time. It's like maybe 3 minutes for them to reload. Oh, they're gonna try to shell me here. That's fine. We know where that troop is, so you can also use the target ground for a great effect. I'm gonna get my Lyran troops to bank in here, find these commando para troops. Hopefully take them out.